let's go over the tables function in InDesign, because it's a very powerful tool that you can use to create some really lovely looking tables. And it all starts from the table create table menu. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a 3x3 table. And I'm going to draw it between my margins. Cool. And now I'm going to just give these boxes a couple of names. All right. So I've got my 3x3 grid here. And that's I've got an existing table, it's a 3x3, but I want it to be a 4x3. I want an option 4 on the end. Now, how do I go about that? Not really easy, actually. What we can do, selecting the whole table and pressing T to grab my black arrow there, making sure it's clicking down diagonally so I've got the entire table. What we can do is go up to the panel, the contextual panel up here. And this denotes how many rows and how many columns your table has. Cool. Okay, so I know that I want another column on the end. Let's stick a 4 in the column. Well, it's now made my table go outside of my document and it's not correctly arranged within the margins, but no problem at all. What we can do is change the size of it. So I'm selecting the containing box here, and I know that the containing box is 165.5 mil. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that in onto my clipboard. Now, if I go back and select my table, I can modify the width of each column here. And I know that InDesign can do maths. It's very good at maths. So I can put in the entire size that I want my table to be divided by the amount of columns that I have. Now I enter that in and everything is proportionate to how I want it. I can go ahead and add my new column title subheader in there and everything is great. Now let's have a play here. What I want to do is I want to play with some of the padding inside the cells just to give this a bit more of a cleaner appearance. So I'm going to go ahead and I want 2.5 mil on all sides, and that will bring down the text in from the edges. I want to add a vibrant color to the top. Maybe I want to align center my text within the cell. I don't want, or maybe I do want, a border. Let's give it a funky dotted border. It's going to be nice and thick, a 2-point border. Now we've got a funky looking, let's just change. Let's go that. Let's create a new paragraph style. Here we go. And apply that to the rest. Cool. Right, let's zoom in on what we've done here. So we've created a table. We've given it a background color. We've given it a dotted border, but now I'm missing a bottom row, and the background, I kind of wanted to come beyond the border here, the dotted border, and it hasn't. It's kind of stopped before the border. I wanted to go right up to the edges. So let's diagnose these two issues. So we're going to go ahead. And I want just this cell. So I'm going to click on my text, hit escape, and that'll enlarge the area to just a single cell. And I'm going to create a cell style. So cell style 2. I'm going to double click it. I'm going to call it pink header cell. And I'm just going to go through these options. Now, I know that the issue is to do with my strokes and fills. Now, if I read through the options that we have here, we can manipulate the weight, the color, type, tint of the cell stroke. We can also manipulate the gap color, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and choose that pink. The gap tint. I'm going to leave as is. I'm going to click OK. Now, that is exactly how I wanted it. That's perfect. Now I want to apply it to the rest of the cells. Quite so simply, we can select the entire row this time, come over to our pink header cell, apply that, and it's been applied to the rest of them. Super. I'm still missing a bottom row here. If we go back to preview mode, work normal mode, we can see this little red square, this plus sign here means that there is more grid below this frame. So there's one of three things I can do here. I can double click that center handle and it'll bring down the frame to fit the table that's inside it. Or option 2, I can go up to the top here and I can click fit frame to content. Option 3, which is a dynamic way of working, is if you hit Control B on the keyboard and we go to auto size. Auto sizing, we fit to height, we change to height only, and then we choose the top point here as the anchor point, so everything is relative from this point. Now we don't have to worry about ever adjusting that bottom handle, and I'm just going to show you how dynamic this is. If I wanted just 2 rows instead of 3, yes, delete that row. You can see that the box is all snug and fit within there. Now, if we want to add in another row or 2, so we'll make it a 4x4, we tap in 4, and the frame will stretch with the table. Perfect. Let's say that you wanted a couple of cells that were half the size of the ones that you've already included in your table. Well, that's easy too. We can just go ahead, I'll select a row like this, right click, split cell vertically. There we go, we've got 2 cells, half the size. Let's say that I wanted to make that much larger. I haven't decided what size I want yet, but what we can do is holding shift, click and drag our dividing line across, making this cell larger and its next door neighbor smaller. Or if I wanted to keep the next door neighbor the size that it was, I click and drag without holding any modifier keys, and the rest will trickle through to the rest of the table. Same with the horizontal bars. I can click to move them, hold shift, move them, and you can see that this table is starting to take some sort of shape, whatever it may be, whatever your requirements are. Great thing about using table is that you can use a grid system to make sure that everything sits proportionately and aligned relatively in the space that's been allocated using the tools at the bar at the top of the bar here. Don't forget to use your margins. You can decide to put in a certain height of cell if you wanted to, a certain width. You can, once you're happy with a cell styling, you can go ahead, select it, add it to the cell styles on the side, save that one for later, and that's it. That's the beauty of tables. It's really that simple. You're just using the context menu at the top here, you're saving your styles to the cell styles on the side, and that is tables.